Welcome to my channel. Old Valuable Chiller. In this video, we'll talk about some of the most valuable 1-cent coins from the United States that could be worth a lot more than their face value. Always check your pocket change, because that old penny could be hiding a small fortune. The 1909 SVDB Lincoln cent is one of the most famous. It can sell for thousands of dollars in top condition. The 1943 copper penny is another rarity. It was mistakenly struck in copper instead of steel and can be worth over $100,000. First up, the 1974 1-cent coin features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, which appeared on U.S. pennies from 1959 until 2008. This coin is made primarily of copper, and its classic look represents one of the most recognizable coins in American history. In 1974, the U.S. Mint produced these pennies at three main locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint coins carry no mint mark, while Denver coins are marked with a small D, and San Francisco coins feature an S. Each of these mints created millions of 1974 pennies, but there's more to this coin than just its design. It's the year that sparked one of the most famous experimental coin stories in U.S. history. The 1974 penny was produced mostly from 95% copper and 5% zinc. However, because of the rising cost of copper in the early 1970s, the U.S. Mint started testing different materials to find a cheaper alternative. That led to the creation of a small batch of experimental 1974 pennies made from aluminum. These 1974 aluminum cents were never officially released to the public, and only a few are known to exist. Most were supposed to be destroyed, but a few escaped into collectors' hands, making them among the rarest and most talked about modern U.S. coins. If you ever come across a 1974 penny that looks lighter in color or doesn't stick to a magnet, you might want to take a closer look. But remember, genuine 1974 aluminum cents are almost impossible to find and are considered government property if discovered. The vast majority of 1974 pennies are regular copper coins that weigh about 3.11 grams, while the experimental aluminum cents weigh around 0.93 grams. Now, let's talk about the different variations and their values. The standard 1974 penny from the Philadelphia Mint is very common and can still be found in circulation today. In circulated condition, it's worth face value, 1 cent. But in uncirculated mint state condition, collectors often pay between 25 cents and a few dollars depending on the grade. Coins with full red color and no spots or marks are more desirable. The 1974 D penny from the Denver Mint is also common, but collectors always look for errors like double dies or off-center strikes that can make a coin much more valuable. A 1974 D penny in perfect mint condition can reach a few dollars, but certain rare mint errors have sold for hundreds. The 1974 S penny from the San Francisco Mint was struck primarily as a proof coin for collectors. These coins have a mirror-like finish and are found only in proof sets. A 1974 S proof penny in flawless condition can be worth between $1 and $5, and sometimes more for coins graded PR70. Collectors also pay close attention to small details like die varieties, weak strikes, or color tone. The color grading of Lincoln pennies, brown, red-brown, and full red, significantly affects their value. A bright, original red 1974 penny is always the most sought after by collectors. It's also interesting to note that the 1974 penny marks one of the last years before the major metal composition change of 1982, when the U.S. Mint switched from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc. That makes the 1974 issue one of the final full copper Lincoln Memorial coins in history. For anyone getting into coin collecting, the 1974 penny is a great place to start. It's easy to find, inexpensive, and it tells a story about a major turning point in U.S. coin production. You can find rolls of 1974 pennies at coin shops, online marketplaces, or even in pocket change, and sorting through them can be an exciting hunt for rare errors or high-grade examples. If you want to identify a valuable 1974 penny, pay attention to its condition, mint mark, and any unusual features. Look for doubling on the letters, off-center designs, or unique die cracks. Those small details can turn an ordinary coin into something special. Even a small variation in strike or tone can make a big difference in collector value. Another fascinating part of this coin's history is the aluminum penny mystery. In 1974, more than 1.5 million aluminum cents were produced for testing, but they were never approved for circulation. Almost all were destroyed, but a few were saved by mint officials. When one surfaced decades later, it drew massive attention from collectors and the media. Today, that story adds a layer of intrigue to the 1974 penny series. If you enjoy collecting US coins, especially Lincoln cents, always remember to store your coins properly. Keep them in holders or albums to protect their color and luster, avoid touching the surface, and handle them carefully to preserve their condition. A well-preserved 1974 penny can maintain its beauty for decades and might even gain value over time. Many coin enthusiasts consider the 1974 penny not just a piece of money but a piece of American history. It represents a time when the mint experimented with materials and design while balancing tradition and innovation. Whether it's a copper or aluminum version, this coin continues to spark curiosity and conversation among collectors worldwide. Next up, the 1981 cent coin features the famous portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side. This portrait was designed by Victor David Brenner and has appeared on the US penny since 1909. On the reverse side, you'll find the image of the Lincoln Memorial, which was introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Now, the 1980 penny was struck in two main locations, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The Philadelphia Mint coins do not have a mint mark, while the Denver Mint coins carry a small D below the date. There were 7.4 billion pennies produced in Philadelphia and about 5 billion in Denver, making it one of the most common coins of the late 20th century. The composition of the 1980 penny is 95% copper and 5% zinc, with a total weight of 3.11 grams. This was the last era before the US Mint switched to the copper-plated zinc composition in 1982. Because of this, collectors especially like the 1980 penny for its classic copper content. When it comes to value, the average circulated 1980 penny is worth 1 cent, but uncirculated examples can be worth much more. In mint state condition, especially MS65 and higher, these coins can be worth $1 to $5, sometimes more depending on color and luster. Red-toned copper coins, known as red Lincoln cents, are valued higher than brown or red-brown examples. But what really gets collectors excited are errors and varieties. Let's talk about some rare and valuable 1980 penny errors. One of the most desirable is the 1980 doubled die obverse, where the date or letters like Liberty and In God We Trust show doubling under magnification. These error coins can bring hundreds of dollars depending on condition. Another sought-after error is the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't properly centered during striking. The more dramatic the off-center, the higher the value. Some can reach $50 to $200. You might also find a broad strike, clipped planchette, or die crack error on 1980 pennies. These mint mistakes make the coin unique and collectible. Always check your 1980 pennies carefully under good lighting or with a magnifier to spot these details. Now let's discuss the color designations that influence price: brown, BN, red-brown, RB, and red, road. Red coins are the most lustrous and valuable, as they have retained their original copper color without oxidation. If you have a 1980 penny that looks bright red with no discoloration, it could be worth grading for potential value. Another interesting detail about the 1980 Lincoln penny is that it represents a time of transition in US coinage. The rising cost of copper made these coins more expensive to produce than their face value. By 1982, the US Mint reduced copper usage dramatically, switching to a mostly zinc core with a thin copper coating. That means your 1980 penny is part of the final generation of nearly pure copper cents. For collectors and coin enthusiasts, condition is everything. If your 1980 penny has no scratches, full details, and strong luster, it could be a mint state coin. High-grade examples certified as MS67 red have been known to sell for over $500 at auctions. Always store such coins in protective holders to prevent oxidation and damage. If you're searching for 1980 pennies in your pocket change, check every detail. Look at the mint mark, the edges, and the color. Even small differences can make a big impact on value. Coins with strong strike quality, clean surfaces, and brilliant color will always attract collectors. Another aspect that makes the 1981 cent coin popular is its connection to American history. The Lincoln design has become an enduring symbol of freedom, integrity, and leadership. Every 1980 penny you hold is a small piece of that legacy, representing the craftsmanship of US Mint engravers and the history of American coinage. When evaluating your 1980 penny, remember that condition, rarity, and demand determine its market price. If you discover a mint error or a high-grade copper cent, it's worth holding on to. These coins are not just pieces of change, they're pieces of history with the potential to increase in value over time. So whether you're a beginner just learning about US coins or a seasoned collector building your Lincoln cent collection, the 1981 cent coin deserves your attention. Its copper content, historical background, and collectible varieties make it one of the most interesting coins of its decade. To recap, the 1980 penny from the United States is 95% copper, features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, and was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver. Its value depends on mint mark, condition, and any possible mint errors. Next up today we are going to explore one of the most talked about coins in American numismatic history, the 1982 1-cent coin from the United States. This small copper-colored penny may look ordinary at first glance, but it holds a fascinating story, full of mystery, value, and unique varieties that make it one of the most interesting coins to ever circulate in the US economy. Whether you are a beginner collector, an experienced numismatist, or simply someone curious about rare and valuable coins, this video will give you all the details you need to know about the 1982 Lincoln cent, including its composition, varieties, mint marks, design details, and the reasons why certain versions of this coin can be worth far more than face value today. Let's start with the background. The 1982 1-cent coin marks an important turning point in US coinage history. Before 1982, pennies were primarily made from a bronze alloy, consisting of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But in 1982, due to rising copper prices, the US Mint made a major decision to change the composition of the penny. The new version introduced in mid-1982 was made of a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper, reducing the copper content drastically to save production costs. This means that in 1982, both copper and zinc cents were minted, creating multiple variations of the same year, and that is where the excitement begins for collectors. The 1982 Lincoln cent features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, which first appeared in 1909. The obverse side shows Lincoln's bust facing right, the word liberty on the left, and the year 1982 on the right. Just above Lincoln's head, you'll find the phrase "In God We Trust." On the reverse side, the design features the Lincoln Memorial, with the words United States of America and E Pluribus Unum inscribed above, and the denomination 1 cent at the bottom. Now, let's talk about the varieties, because this is where the 1982 penny truly stands out. There are 7 main varieties of the 1982 Lincoln cent, created due to the composition change, mint locations, and differences in the date font. You have the 1982 copper large date, the 1982 copper small date, the 1982 zinc large date, the 1982 zinc small date, the 1982D copper large date, the 1982D zinc large date, and the 1982D zinc small date. Each one of these versions has its own unique features and can have different values depending on its condition and rarity. Collectors pay special attention to the small date and large date differences. The easiest way to tell them apart is by looking at the number 2 in the year 1982. On the large date, the 2 has a more rounded curve and the top of the 8 appears higher than the 9. On the small date, the 2 has a sharper curve and the 8 aligns evenly with the 9. These subtle details can help you distinguish between the 2 date styles. Next comes the composition. Copper pennies minted before mid-1982 weigh about 3.11 grams, while the newer zinc ones weigh only about 2.5 grams. The weight difference is one of the best ways to determine which type you have. If you use a precise scale, it becomes easy to tell whether your coin is copper or zinc. Now, the most exciting part: value. Most 1982 pennies you'll find in circulation today are worth 1 cent, but certain rare varieties can sell for much more. The 1982 D small date copper cent is one of the most valuable. It was not supposed to exist, yet a few examples were accidentally struck using the older copper planchets. These rare pieces can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition. For example, one confirmed 1982 D small date copper penny sold for an impressive sum at auction, making it one of the most sought-after modern US coins. Even regular 1982 small date and large date cents in mint condition can hold collector value. Coins with bright luster, no marks, and sharp details can bring a premium, especially if graded in high mint state condition. Collectors love finding uncirculated rolls or original mint sets that contain these transitional year coins. If you ever want to check your penny's composition, you can perform a simple test at home. Use a small digital scale to weigh it. If it weighs around 3.1 grams, it's copper. If it weighs closer to 2.5 grams, it's zinc. Never scratch or damage your coin to test it. The weight method is accurate and safe for preservation. The 1982 transition year also reflects an interesting moment in US mint history. The decision to switch from copper to zinc was based on economics. By the early 1980s, The value of copper had increased so much that it cost the government more than 1 cent to make a 1-cent coin. The change to copper-plated zinc significantly reduced production costs and remains the standard composition for U.S. pennies today. Many collectors consider the 1982 Lincoln cent an essential piece of any collection because it represents both the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. It's a coin that symbolizes how even small changes in metal composition can create lasting effects in coin collecting. If you're sorting through your change, look carefully at every 1982 penny you find. Check the mint mark, examine the date size, and if possible, weigh the coin. If you ever come across a 1982D small date copper cent, you might be holding a rare and valuable piece of history. Even common 1982 cents can be fun to collect. You can create a set containing all 7 varieties, both copper and zinc, small and large dates, and both Philadelphia and Denver mint marks. Completing such a set can be a rewarding achievement for any collector. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of 1982 cents without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint coins carry the D mark just below the date. Because of the transitional production that year, both facilities produced coins in different compositions, adding even more excitement for variety hunters. Another interesting thing about 1982 cents is how they age differently. Copper coins often develop beautiful natural toning with shades of red, brown, or even rainbow colors, while zinc coins may corrode or show surface bubbles due to the thin copper plating. This difference in durability makes the copper pennies more appealing to long-term collectors. When it comes to storage, it's best to keep your coins in a dry, cool environment, preferably in coin flips, holders, or albums that are free from PVC material. Proper storage helps maintain the coin's color and prevents damage. The legacy of the 1982 penny continues to grow among collectors. Many enjoy the challenge of identifying all the varieties, weighing them, and comparing features. It's a fun, educational, and potentially profitable hobby. In summary, the 1982 1-cent coin from the United States is not just a small piece of change, it's a piece of American history. It tells the story of rising metal costs, changing minting technology, and the fascinating details that make coin collecting so rewarding. Whether you have a 1982 copper or zinc penny, a large or small date, or even a rare mint era, every coin has a story to tell. Now we will explore in this video. We'll take a detailed look at the 1991 D 1-cent coin from the United States, a fascinating piece of American coinage that still captures the attention of collectors and enthusiasts around the world. The 1991 D penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, was minted in Denver and carries the D mint mark under the date on the obverse side. It features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has been on the penny since 1909. The 1991 D penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see the image of the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. If you look closely, you can actually see a tiny representation of the statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial, a small but remarkable detail that makes this design unique among U.S. coins. The 1991 D penny was struck mostly from copper-plated zinc. Since 1982, the U.S. Mint changed the composition of the 1-cent coin from 95% copper to a mixture of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. This change significantly reduced production costs but also made the coins lighter and slightly more prone to surface wear and corrosion over time. The 1991 D penny weighs about 2.5 grams and measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint produced over 4.2 billion of these coins in 1991, making it one of the most common pennies of its era. However, even with such a large mintage, not all 1991 D pennies are the same. There are many factors that affect their value, including condition, luster, errors, and strike quality. Collectors often look for high-grade examples in mint state condition, usually graded MS65 or higher. These coins exhibit full luster, minimal contact marks, and sharp details on both sides. A 1991 D penny in circulation is usually worth its face value of 1 cent, but uncirculated examples can be worth more depending on their quality. Some high-grade pieces can be valued at a few dollars, and certain rare error coins can be worth significantly more. Speaking of errors, the 1991 D penny is known to have a few interesting varieties and minting mistakes that attract attention. Some examples include off-center strikes, double die obverses, and coins with plating blisters or die cracks. These mint errors can make the coin unique and add collectible appeal. Coins showing clear doubling on the date or lettering can be particularly desirable. It's also important to note that coins from this period often develop spots, streaks, or bubbles due to their zinc core. These imperfections occur when the copper plating doesn't adhere perfectly during the minting process. While these are not considered mint errors, they do affect the coin's appearance and sometimes its value. The design of the 1991 D penny continues to celebrate Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, who led the country through the Civil War and worked to end slavery. The Lincoln Memorial on the back symbolizes unity and the enduring legacy of freedom. For many Americans, even a simple penny like this carries a sense of history and national pride. In coin collecting, provenance and preservation matter. If you happen to find a 1991 D penny in your change, it's always a good idea to check its condition. A well-preserved coin with sharp details and no visible damage can be placed in a protective holder to prevent oxidation and scratches. When evaluating coins, collectors often use a grading scale from poor, P1, all the way up to mint state, MS70. A 1991 D penny in MS70 condition would be flawless under magnification, with a full original shine and no post-mint marks, a condition that's extremely rare. Some collectors also assemble sets of Lincoln Memorial cents from 1959 through 2008, and the 1991 D penny plays an essential role in completing that collection. Having both the Philadelphia and Denver minted versions helps collectors achieve a full Dayton mint set, which is a common goal in numismatics. As time goes on, these coins may become harder to find in pristine condition because they continue to circulate and experience wear. Even though billions were made, pristine coins that have never been in circulation are always more desirable to numismatists. If you examine a 1991 D penny closely under magnifying glass, pay attention to Lincoln's hair, beard, and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. These are key areas where weak strikes or wear show first. A coin with strong definition in these areas is likely in higher condition and more collectible. The 1991 D penny is part of a long and beloved series that tells the story of American coinage. It represents the economic life of its time, carrying both symbolic and practical value. Even though it's worth just 1 cent in circulation, to collectors it's a reminder of craftsmanship, design evolution, and American history. Coins like this also connect generations. Many collectors remember finding their first Lincoln cent as children, sparking a lifelong interest in numismatics. The 1991 D penny is still a common coin, but every piece has a story, where it's been, who's used it, and what it represents in the larger narrative of US currency. If you're building a collection, always handle coins carefully, preferably with cotton gloves. Avoid cleaning them, since cleaning can damage the surface and reduce their value. Keep them in a cool, dry place, ideally in a coin album or airtight holder to preserve their condition for years to come. While most 1991 D pennies remain common, it's still possible to discover an unusual error or high-grade piece that stands out from the rest. That's what makes coin collecting exciting. You never know when you might find something rare hiding in your pocket change. So next time you come across a 1991 D 1-cent coin, take a moment to appreciate its history, design, and legacy. It's more than just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of American heritage, resilience, and artistry. From its iconic image of Abraham Lincoln to the fine details of the Lincoln Memorial, this coin carries over a century of tradition and storytelling in a small but powerful form.